Place your bets. Sports gambling is coming to America. Hi there, welcome to Plain English, lesson number 348. I'm Jeff. JR is the producer, and this full lesson can be found at plainenglish.com/348. Coming up today, sports betting has been gradually legalized in the United States after a Supreme Court decision in 2018. After a pandemic year, 2021 is shaping up to be the first big year of online sports betting. On today's lesson, we'll talk about how the sports landscape is changing with the introduction of legal sports betting. And I won't hold you in suspense. I don't love it. The expression we review today is stay out of it, and we have a gambling-related quote of the week. So let's get started. The smell of freshly cut grass, decorative bunting, flyovers, the national anthem, bright sunshine, optimism, and excitement for the year to come. These are the hallmarks of opening day, the first day of the baseball season. This opening day will be different in many ways, as many stadiums remain empty. But American baseball fans will also notice something else new on opening day. Their regional sports television networks may be changing their names. Local stations that used to be called Fox Sports will now become Bally Sports Networks. What's the big deal? I'll tell you. Bally's is a casino, and now the television networks that carry local games of America's baseball, hockey, and basketball teams will be named after a casino. I'm willing to bet that a lot of the programming on the channel will now be related to sports betting. And this is just one out of many changes to the sports landscape that follows a Supreme Court decision legalizing sports betting. For years, betting on sports was illegal in most of the United States. A federal law prohibited states from allowing sports betting. The only significant exception was Las Vegas. But in 2018, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the federal government didn't have the power to tell states what gambling laws they could pass. Under our Constitution, regulating gambling is a power held by the states according to this decision, and the national government had to stay out of it. That opened up possibilities for individual states to allow sports gambling. In the years since that decision, many, but not all, states have passed laws allowing sports gambling. In most cases, individual states give permission to a limited number of companies to offer gambling to residents of their state. Some big companies have permission in multiple states, and in this way, they are building a quasi-national business in sports betting. 2020 was a lost year, so the sports betting apps are starting to ramp up now. Apps like DraftKings, FanDuel, PointsBet, and others are advertising heavily on television and radio, trying to get consumers to download their apps and start betting on games. The apps let you bet on the outcome of a game, the number of points scored in a game, or specific events in the game. More complicated wagers let you combine games on a single ticket, and you can even make additional bets as the game goes on and as the action unfolds in real time. The apps use all the same tactics as traditional casinos. They show off their big winners, but they never show off the losers. If you're a little behind, they nudge you to bet more. They give you brightly colored rewards to stimulate your emotions. They even use language that makes gambling seem no different from investing. For example, many sites offer a money-back guarantee for your first bet. So, if you lose on your first bet, they'll cover your losses. Others advertise something called loss insurance, which is not insurance whatsoever, but they're using risk reversal tactics to make people lose their fear of gambling and make their first bet. They are also making savvy partnerships. Several sites are becoming official sponsors of individual teams. The Detroit Tigers baseball team signed a partnership with a sports betting app in their home state of Michigan. PointsBet will get signage in the park, advertising on the radio, and publicity on the team's website. America's sports leagues used to be afraid of gambling, fearing that the integrity of their games would be called into question if they were associated with gambling. No more. With consumers' attention spans dwindling and with more competition for fans' attention than ever before, and hammered by a lost year due to COVID, sports leagues need the money and the excitement that betting firms offer. I mentioned earlier that television networks will be named after Bally's, a casino. It won't stop there. The editorial content on the network and the features in the games will include sports betting content. Already, sports networks are integrating sports betting into their programming lineups. ESPN, never known for its subtlety, opened a television studio in Las Vegas and has digital programming devoted entirely to sports betting. Sports betting has been legal in Europe for many years, from the 12th century, when betting on cockfights was common, to the invention in Italy of baccarat, through the present-day betting on soccer. But ironically, some countries in Europe are moving in the opposite direction of the United States. The Spanish government recently passed a law heavily restricting marketing of sports betting sites. The law also prohibits sports bodies, like leagues and teams, from partnering with gambling sites, and sports books can no longer offer bonuses or incentives to first-time bettors. The UK is currently performing a wholesale review of its online gambling laws. Several ideas are in play, including stricter limits on how much people can bet and affordability tests to make sure people are placing bets they can afford. Britain has already imposed limits on ads targeting minors and ads during games. Personally, I don't like this at all. I like watching sports for the competition and the drama on the field, the ice, or the court. I don't like watching sports for the Twitter controversies, the debates about who's the greatest this or that, or the political causes of the players. I just want to watch the games. And now I'm afraid the experience of watching a game on TV is going to be about gambling. It won't just be commercials, but the commentary in the game, the graphics on the screen, whatever. I'm just afraid that watching a simple game is going to be like a trip to the casino, and I don't want that. I don't gamble on sports or anything. I would say my big worry is that this will attract people who just like the gambling aspect and repel people who actually like the sports and the competition. I'd love to hear your perspective. Share your thoughts on sports gambling in our free Facebook group. To join, just visit plainenglish.com/Facebook and feel free to reply to today's lesson topic and leave your comment. Today's expression is to stay out of it. You'll remember in today's main lesson, we talked about sports betting. For years, betting on sports was illegal in almost all of the United States, thanks to a national law. But the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that, according to our Constitution, regulating sports betting is a power that belongs to the states. The federal government, the national government, has no power to regulate sports betting. The Supreme Court said that the national government must stay out of it. Stay out of it means, in this case, they can't participate in a process or a decision. They must stay out of it means they don't get to be part of the decision-making process. In the U.S., the Constitution lists several powers that are given to the national government. If something is not listed in those powers, then the national government has to stay out of it. The national government must not participate. For example, robbery. If I break into my neighbor's house and steal something, that's breaking a state law. The national government cannot pass laws against simple robbery. Only the states can do that. The national government has to stay out of it. They cannot participate. Likewise, only the national government can issue a currency. If the state of Idaho wanted to issue its own currency, that would be illegal. Issuing and regulating the currency is a national activity, and the states have to stay out of it. Parents of adult children, this is for you. Do you have an opinion about the romantic partners your adult children have chosen? Did you ever feel the temptation to give your son or daughter some frank advice about their boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, or wife? If you've ever felt that temptation, I hope that you also chose to stay out of it. I hate to break it to all you parents, but your kids probably want you to stay out of it. They don't want you as an active participant in their choice of a spouse. Right around when I graduated from college, poker was extremely popular in the United States. I had friends who would carry poker chips with them whenever they traveled anywhere, just in case the chance to play presented itself. I always stayed out of it. It wasn't bad playing poker. I just didn't want the temptation. I didn't want to lose the money. I had never gambled except for the most friendly wagers of $1 here or there among friends. And I didn't want to start with cards. So I always stayed out of it. I just didn't play poker, not online and not in person. It's very common to use stay out of it if you personally don't want to take sides in an argument. Have you ever been friends with a couple and then the couple breaks up? It can be awkward if they each start complaining to you about the other post-breakup. In that case, you probably want to stay out of it. You don't want to take sides, especially if you want to be friends with both of them in the future. Plus, they might get back together, and then you'll really be glad you stayed out of it. The workplace is full of potential controversies to stay out of. 2 people are competing for a promotion. My advice for you, stay out of it. You don't want to make enemies of either one of them. Big tech companies often have internal message boards for people to discuss issues. I'll never understand that. It's not part of my company culture. But every so often, a discussion on these message boards boils over into a huge public controversy. If I were working at a company with an internal message board like that, and if there were big debates about politics or something, I would stay out of it. I wouldn't choose sides. I wouldn't participate. I would say the workplace is not where we solve the world's problems via message boards. I would stay out of it. Today's quote of the week is about gambling. It's by the poker player Terrence Murphy. Here's what he says. A gambler never makes the same mistake twice. It's usually 3 or more times. Yikes, that's what I'm afraid of with gambling, making the same mistake 3 times or 300 times. This quote is a play on words because it's a common saying to say, I'll never make the same mistake twice. That means you always learn from your mistakes. But this quote means the opposite. Gamblers never learn from their mistakes. A gambler never makes the same mistake twice. It's usually 3 or more times, says poker player Terrence Murphy. You know, of all the expressions we've talked about on Plain English, now almost 350 of them, I think stay out of it might come the closest to being my motto in life. If you were looking for one motto, one saying that explains my behavior in life, stay out of it might just be it. I'm so non-confrontational. Okay, that's all for today. Great job reaching the end of another lesson. We'll be back again on Thursday with another free lesson. Thursdays is fun. It's all about duty-free shops. I bet you haven't thought about those in a while. We'll talk about duty-free shopping and the one place in the world where duty-free was thriving in 2020. Now, if you enjoyed today's lesson, then I think you'd really like being a member of Plain English Plus, if you're not already a member. With every lesson, we'll give you extra practice to help you build the confidence you need to succeed in English. Practice makes perfect, we say, so that's why all our lessons have quizzes and exercises to help you retain more of what you learn. Listening to English is great, but really engaging your brain in what you're learning is the way you remember it and have the confidence to use it. Our practice exercises will help you with your pronunciation and listening too. You might be thinking that you've bought a paid course in the past and it wasn't for you, or you might be worried about the financial commitment, and that's totally understandable. If it's not for you, you can always cancel within 30 days and get your money back, and our monthly memberships have no commitment. Some members have been with us since the beginning, almost 2 years, if you can believe that. Others joined just for a few months. It's all up to you. If this sounds like you'd be interested, come check it out by visiting plainenglish.com/plus. See you next time.